The quiet rhythms of Brooke Logan's life were shattered when the past she had long buried came crashing back into her present. For years, she had moved on, tried to live with the mistakes she had made, and built a life around the love and security she had found with her family. But no matter how much time had passed, there were some things you could never escape from, and Brooke was about to face the truth of her own past in a way she never expected. It all began with the return of someone she never thought she would see again, her long-lost daughter. This child, born out of a secret, forbidden affair that had remained hidden from the world, had grown into an adult, and now she was back in Los Angeles. She was no longer the innocent child Brooke had once held in her arms. The years had turned her into someone who had been robbed of a mother's love and who now demanded that Brooke face the consequences of her actions. The child, now a woman, was determined to reclaim everything she felt was stolen from her, and above all, she wanted revenge. She wanted to make Brooke pay for abandoning her all those years ago. The once bright, hopeful future that Brooke had tried to construct for herself was now shrouded in the dark clouds of her past. The haunting guilt of what she had done, and the emotional torment she had buried for so long, began to suffocate her. As her daughter's return marked the beginning of a new chapter, Brooke was forced to face the mistakes she had made, the pain she had caused, and the woman her child had become. The return of the daughter she had left behind was not just a reunion, it was a reckoning. This woman, scarred by years of abandonment, was bent on making Brooke understand the full weight of her decision, a decision that had torn apart not just her own life, but the lives of those around her. The pressure mounted as Brooke's worst fears were realized. Her daughter was not looking for a reunion. She wasn't interested in forgiveness or reconciliation. No, this woman wanted answers, and more than that, she wanted justice. She wanted to make Brooke pay for the emotional abandonment she had suffered, for the years she had been left without a mother. And as the days went by, it became clear that the battle ahead would be one of unimaginable emotional stakes. Brooke, in turn, was caught between the overpowering guilt that gnawed at her and the overwhelming desire to protect her family from the explosive truths that were now on the verge of being exposed. She knew that the return of her daughter meant the potential unraveling of everything she had worked so hard to build. The family she had with Ridge, the life they had created, all of it was in jeopardy as the ghosts of her past came rushing forward. Her mind was torn in two. On one hand, she wanted to make amends, to explain, to somehow restore the relationship with the child she had once abandoned, but on the other hand, she feared the fallout from the revelation. If the truth were to come out, it would devastate not only her life, but also the lives of those around her. Ridge, who had always been by her side through thick and thin, would be faced with a devastating betrayal. The children from her previous marriages, Steffi, Thomas, and RJ, would never understand the decision she had made. They would see the woman they loved, the mother who had always been there for them, in a completely different light. And then there was the issue of Hope. Hope, who had always admired and loved her mother unconditionally, would be faced with the hardest decision of her life. Could she still love a mother who had kept such a monumental secret from her? The ripple effect of this secret would extend far beyond Brooke's own world, impacting her relationships in ways that she couldn't even begin to predict. But at the heart of it all was Brooke's own internal conflict. She wanted to protect her family. She wanted to shield them from the truth, from the pain that would surely come with the knowledge of her past mistakes. But as her daughter closed in, demanding answers, Brooke's world began to crumble around her. Every conversation with her daughter was a reminder of everything she had lost, everything she had sacrificed in the name of protecting her family. And the harder Brooke tried to resist the truth, the harder it became to deny that it was time to face the consequences of her past actions. With each passing day, the pressure mounted. Her daughter grew more determined, more relentless in her pursuit of justice. And soon, Brooke found herself at a crossroads. Could she do the unthinkable and expose the truth, risking everything she had worked for? Or would she try to hide the truth and continue to carry the unbearable weight of her past, knowing that doing so would mean continuing to lie to everyone she loved? The choice was agonizing, and the clock was ticking. As the truth loomed closer, Brooke's struggle intensified. Could she find a way to make things right? Could she protect her family from the storm that was coming, or would the revelations of her past destroy everything she had worked so hard to build? One thing was certain, the consequences of her actions would be felt for years to come, and there was no escaping the truth now. The moment Brooke's long-buried secret was exposed, her world crumbled. The once tightly held together family unit was now fractured, each member reeling from the shocking revelation of her past. Rich Forrester, the man who had always stood by her side through their many trials and tribulations, was now standing at the crossroads of heartbreak and betrayal. His love for Brooke had always been strong, but the truth about the child she had abandoned, the secret she had kept hidden for so many years, was too much for him to overlook. Ridge, torn between his feelings for Brooke and his moral compass, made the excruciating decision to halt their reunion. The life they had been building together, one filled with hope, love, and the promise of a fresh start, was now in tatters. The foundation they had tried so hard to solidify was rocked by the weight of the betrayal Brooke had unknowingly inflicted upon their relationship. Ridge, devastated, walked away from her, unable to reconcile with the truth that had surfaced. Brooke stood there, her heart breaking as Ridge left, the pain of his rejection cutting deeper than any words ever could. As Ridge departed, leaving Brooke alone to grapple with the fallout, the world around her seemed to collapse. Hope, who had always admired her mother, now faced the bitter reality of her mother's past mistakes. The trust between them had been shattered, and Brooke had to find a way to rebuild what was lost. But that was a distant thought for the moment, as her mind swirled with questions she had not even considered before. Who was the father of her child? The one she had abandoned all those years ago? The truth about the child's return to Los Angeles was only the beginning of the mystery that haunted Brooke. As much as she had tried to bury her past, the arrival of her daughter resurfaced a painful reminder of the consequences of her actions. But now, with Ridge out of the picture and the family divided, Brooke was left with the daunting task of answering a question that had lingered in the back of her mind for years. Who was the father of her child, and what did he have to do with this complicated and emotionally charged situation? Brooke knew she had made a mistake long ago by not revealing the identity of the father, by running away from the pain instead of confronting it. But now, with the child in question standing before her as a grown adult, the reality of what was at stake felt like a crushing weight. Who had she betrayed all those years ago, and who would now be forced to confront the past with her? The father, whoever he was, had been a part of this story from the very beginning, and now, Brooke had to face the potential consequences of his involvement. As Brooke reflected on the past, trying to piece together the fragments of the story she had long kept hidden, she remembered a time when she had been deeply in love. The affair had been brief, intense, and full of passion. The man she had shared this brief moment with had been someone from her past, someone with a connection to her family's world, someone who had played a pivotal role in her life at the time. The memories flooded back as Brooke searched through the haze of time, struggling to recall every detail. She had been young, confused, and overwhelmed with emotions. She had not planned for it to happen, but it did, and now that moment had caught up with her. The affair had happened during a difficult period in her life, when she had been uncertain about the future and feeling lost. She had never expected the consequences of that brief relationship to echo into the future, to resurface in such a profound and life-altering way. As Brooke's thoughts lingered on the identity of the father, the pieces began to come together. The man she had been involved with was none other than Bill Spencer. The shocking revelation rocked her to the core. Bill Spencer. The very same man who had been her partner in business, her rival in love, and the father of her children, was the father of the child she had abandoned. This revelation sent shockwaves through Brooke's already fragile world. The weight of the truth settled in. Her affair with Bill had resulted in a child she had kept hidden, and the consequences of that decision now rippled through the Spencer family and her own. Brooke, now fully aware of the devastating truth, had to confront both Bill and the consequences of her actions. The impact of this revelation reached far beyond her relationship with Ridge. It shattered the carefully constructed facade she had built, exposing her to judgment and ridicule. The relationship with Ridge was now irreparably damaged, and Brooke knew she had to face Bill. The pain of betrayal that she had inflicted upon Ridge was nothing compared to the confrontation she now had to endure with Bill, the man she had shared her deepest secrets with for so long. Bill, always a man of confidence and power, was stunned by the truth when Brooke finally came clean. The history they had shared, the complexities of their relationship, were now overshadowed by the knowledge that their past, their brief affair, had led to the creation of a child. One that neither of them had acknowledged until now. Bill's initial reaction was one of anger. The emotions he felt were complex: hurt, betrayal, and a sense of disbelief that Brooke had kept this secret from him for so long. But as the shock wore off, a new set of emotions began to surface. Bill realized that the child, now grown and back in Los Angeles, was a part of his life, and the future he had envisioned was forever altered. As Brooke faced the consequences of her actions and the truth of her past came to light, she was forced to reckon with the man she had betrayed and the family that had been torn apart by her secrets. The identity of the father was now known, and it seemed that the past was not something they could run from anymore. The child, grown and vengeful, demanded justice, and Brooke's once secure world had shattered beyond repair. Brooke was left in a whirlwind of emotions, facing not just the loss of Ridge, but the complexities of dealing with Bill, the father of her long-lost child. With each passing moment, the weight of her past grew heavier, and she was forced to confront the decisions she had made and the people she had hurt. Her once vibrant and protected life was now filled with uncertainty, pain, and regret, and the only thing that was clear was that no one, not even Brooke Logan, could outrun their past forever. The truth had come to light, and the consequences of Brooke's past mistakes were now playing out before her eyes in a way she could never have anticipated.